Hi there. So we are here today with Chris Donovan from Echo Bravo. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to let Chris introduce himself. Hi, Chris.
Hi, you're right. Yeah, I'm Chris from Echo Bravo. So we are a business travel management company helping companies travel internationally, saving a bit of time, money on all of their wonderful travel arrangements.
Wonderful adventures. Well, one of the reasons I absolutely love aerospace is because I get to travel the world. I do it more and more and more now as the company starts to grow. And I found I was getting my PA to just book flights. She learned my preferences, but it wasn't part of her job really, or that part of her job. She wasn't an expert at it.
Yeah.
And so since we started to outsource, we found that we've definitely saved money off our P&L. And also it's just kind of easier just to say, right, this is where we want to go. And then I found your little nuggets of information about flights, little tips, that sort of thing has just been so valuable to me personally. That I thought what a great. I really wanted to get you on the show just because you have so many real, just really good bits of information that I think the listeners from this would really benefit from.
That's a good start.
So no pressure. But I guess so. You do business travel.
Yeah.
What would you say is your hottest tip at the moment?
Hottest tip? Wow. Okay. God, I think there's lots of different angles. I think with business travel, airlines and airfares are complicated, outrageous, and you can't, in a way, really blame the airlines. Obviously, they got hit really hard in COVID, and naturally, they're trying to make their dollar back. I guess for me, what we're noticing in the industry now is that from kind of late September onwards, that we're starting to see a reduction in kind of business class rates, the premium economy rates, the midweek rates.
Why is that?
Mainly because the COVID vouchers expire. So during COVID, when flights were cancelled, obviously you get issued a voucher for the full value. They were set a deadline at the end of September 2023. So me being skeptical, no proof on this, but if I'm an airline and I know that, say for example, you've booked a flight and you've
I've
got
$3,000 or whatever
to sat there, then you're not going to release your cheapest fares because you can't use that voucher anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing a few conferences kind of October, November time where business class is kind of going back down to kind of before COVID.
So what sort of prices can you expect? Like, so I've travelled business and I can completely see the value, but it's insane. The cost is insane. But I remember I was travelling for 3 weeks straight and I was so exhausted that I was ready to cry. And I knew that when I got home, I then had a really full-on week. And so to upgrade to business, it was pretty affordable. Nothing like, it wasn't thousands and thousands, but it was pretty affordable. So I upgraded and the experience was just so much nicer. And I was able to lie down and get some sleep.
That's it.
And have some nice food. And it was just a dream. So I'm sold on business. And any time that there's a affordable option to upgrade, like I'm there.
Definitely. I think, before COVID, you could probably look at like transatlantic for around $2,500. If you kind of booking in a reasonable time frame before departure. Now you're probably looking at around 7,000 as an average, which is crazy because we know that those prices were there before, and they definitely made profit off them at lower rent, so they're just making a lot there. Because what we notice as well is sometimes we'll look at availability and business class will be wide open, but they'll still charge that crazy amount.
And I guess you can see how many seats. Like the great thing about having someone like yourself from Echo Bravo is you can, like I said the other day to one of your guys, is I want the availability and the possibility. If it's so, as a business, if it's a couple of £100, sometimes you'll get sign off, or you'll sign it off yourself.
Sure.
To have that cheeky upgrade. And so, just having someone like you to say, right, let's select a flight that's going to potentially allow me to upgrade at the last minute for a really good deal. Sure. That's one of the things I think you guys bring so much value to the table there.
Definitely. I think it's just full transparency. So we work on the GDS system, same as the airlines. So
what system, sorry?
GDS.
What's that?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Oh.
No, it's a global distribution system. So basically it's like a scene from The Matrix. You know, it's very straight out of the 80s. It's, you know, if you're a reservation staff at the, you know, the airport desk or whatever, it's exactly that. It's all coded. So to kind of break it down, this is the weird and wonderful world of airfares. So there'll be lots of different subcategories within different cabin classes. So you'll have economy might have 20 different pricing categories.
Whoa.
And then premium will go up to about 5 or 6, same as business, and then first class normally 2. And basically as each class sells out, the price goes up a level, up a level, up a level. So we can see, for example, there's 2 seats in a certain class in economy, which is the cheapest. When they go, they're going to jump up to around, you know, £80, £100 more. So we can kind of see that. And one way we can do that as well to benefit clients to save money is, again, if there's only 1 seat left at the cheapest rate, but say, for example, there's 2 of you flying, the airline will naturally just bump you up to the high level. So what we'll do is we'll book yourself on the cheapest one, and then add the other person on later, and then link the bookings. So in terms of sitting next to each other and all of that, that's not, you know, you would never notice any difference because it's all linked. But again, it can be the difference between thousands of pounds in business class, just like that.
Whoa, really? I always find, I get really frustrated with airlines when you go direct.
Yeah.
Just because the pricing's all over the show. You never know if you're getting a good deal. And people have just kind of accepted it, that like the price they look at on that day is the price they have to pay if they're trying to book. And then if you go on the next day, obviously they've got some sort of digital marketing tactic in your computer, so they know you as that user. They probably know the price I will upgrade at already. Just because of the way that I fly. And so actually you having an overview of how it all works can definitely save businesses thousands and thousands of pounds a year.
Definitely. And you know, on top of that is, you know, it's the full disclosure, you know, full transparency of what we can see. But on top of that, because we're part of a global brand, so Echo Bravo is part of Travel Counters. So Travel Counters is a big global franchise.
Oh, okay.
So that basically puts us in the kind of top combined spend. So it means that we have the best seat at the table, negotiating fares with the airlines. So basically, you know, the sales team will go to kind of Virgin and say, you know, this is how much we spend. BA are offering us this, and vice versa. So on top of kind of all of the like little tips and tricks that we can do to help businesses save money, we actually get negotiated rates on top. So they're rates that aren't public facing.
Okay, that's that is really, really interesting. And I find, like, I'm interested as well about your story. Like, you are a businessman, you cover the aerospace sector. We'll talk about that in a sec, but you operate a lot in the aerospace sector. You're well known, and I met you through the aviation networking group. And so you're really in there with aerospace business travel. But how did that kind of come to be?
Oh God, no, it's a
long story.
This is like practice for my TED talk in like 5 years. But no, I used to work for a big company and kind of got disillusioned with it. I think business travel is quite stuffy from my sector's point of view, not the people that travel, but it was kind of very formal. You had to like go to work in a suit and tie. You don't need that. Yeah,
you're definitely not, and I absolutely applaud you for that, because I was at the Atlanta MRO last week and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to wear jeans. And actually there's a lot of people there that I imagine would love to wear a bit more comfortable, a bit more casual, and I think there's a real trend socially that actually since COVID people would much rather be comfortable than anything else. And so
I think sorry
carry on.
I think ultimately lets your personality come through.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I wanted to bring when I kind of went off by myself. I wanted to bring a bit of life into business travel, because business travel isn't just sitting around behind a desk, finding fares for clients and managing everything. I want to just bring it up to like modern day a little bit.
And create more, almost like like I find that your business is really relationship driven.
100%.
Like, it's not like you're just a number, this is that, like you get X, Y, Z.
Definitely, because I think, like on the internet, we can't compete with that. Everyone goes on Skyscanner and stuff like that. Lots of false availability on Skyscanner. I'm not going into that. I won't rant just yet. But ultimately, it's creating those human-to-human connections. And that's why I'm very hot on traveling to the same conferences that a lot of our clients go to as well.
Yeah.
Because what I found is, went to MRO Middle East 2 years ago now. It was just really eye-opening, because when you're traveling for business, you can physically put yourself in the traveler's shoes, and all those kind of stresses that pop up that you wouldn't consider when you book a
as
trip.
part of your service. Yeah.
And like you said at the start, the first year we went, I took my family with me, and we had 2 little girls, so 4-month and 18-month at the time.
Wow.
And we went economy, and that was hard.
Was probably quite traumatic.
Yeah, very traumatic. And me being naive, I thought we'll do the night flight just because hopefully they'll get some sleep. But they got no sleep.
Just wide awake,
the whole time. So then we were wide awake the whole day, whole night. Went into the next day, and we were only at the conference for 3 days, I think, and then back. So it absolutely destroys you. So I was like, okay. So I kind of took those real life experiences and tried to tailor that and how I can make it better for clients and stuff. And I just think it's really important, like I said, going to the conferences and you meet people, you get to understand their business. And for us, I like to see ourselves as an unofficial extension of whatever company we work for. We don't come in and kind of say, well, this is how we do it. We're very malleable and can adapt to kind of your needs, really.
We're very much like, we're both from service.
Yeah.
So we both sort of sit around the outside of aerospace, don't do anything super cool and techy. We are like, okay, so we do business services, but we've tailored it to an industry that's so much fun.
Oh God, yeah, aviation, I love it. People are so nice. That is the one main thing I think about the aviation industry, is just so supportive, like really supportive. And I guess that kind of brings us back to the A&G and stuff like that. Because obviously I made the leap of faith. It took me about 4 or 5 years to finally do it. So I started in November 2019.
Okay. So I was a year before.
Yeah. So all going really well. And then around mid-Jan, late Jan, started seeing this little bug in Asia.
And were you booking travel out there?
Yeah.
Wow.
So what we were noticing is that I think it was Virgin and BA at the same time stopped doing flights to
Asia,
Shanghai and stuff.
Whoa, okay.
And for that's a massively profitable route for them. So I was like,
why are Virgin and BA doing this?
I was like, shit.
Wow. So you would have been recruitment, my business fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And so you had that first insider, like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now my mum, she works on the NHS. She works for the NHS, and she basically said, no, Elaine, you're not going to any festivals this summer. You've got about 2 weeks before the entire country's in lockdown. And so I advised a lot of my clients not to employ.
Yeah.
Because we had offers going out to people that worked in pharmaceuticals to come over to the aerospace industry. And I was like, okay, so I'm saying no to, let's say, 10 grand's worth of business. Yeah. But actually it's to protect someone's livelihood.
Exactly.
And actually give my client the right sort of advice, because they'll probably hire and then fire anyway. Yeah. So I found that initial bit of COVID almost like a morally, what do I do? Definitely. Kind of thing. And I guess you had maybe a little bit more of a sneak peek seeing those flights get cancelled. So sorry, tell me a bit more about your experience.
So it just kind of you just watch it come over slow. It's like a cloud just came over, and then obviously then it was Italy. I think it was the second bit that kicked off in the ski resort. And then, like it just kind of spiraled. It was really scary because we were just seeing kind of lots of airlines going on stop sell because they just didn't know if they were going to survive financially. And, we're not big names, and it was just really scary. And then obviously like everything just like stopped, and no one knew what was going on. It was horrible, to be honest, because obviously just being a new business, I fell in between the cracks of government support. So I hadn't been trading for more than 12 months.
Oh gosh.
So I didn't get any support from the government or anything like that. Ultimately, I believed in it. All those silly headlines about Zoom's going to take over the world and that's the end of business travel and all this kind of stuff. And I was like,
people still love travel.
Well, that's it. And I was like, that's cool, but they class business travel as Amazons and your Googles and your Nikes, which, their spend was massively reduced. But for every Amazon, there's a SME that physically needs to be in front of an employee.
In front of a customer. I went to Miami in January and I won some significant business, not because I was calling them, it was because I was booking those appointments face to face. And they, this year, have proven to be really, really valuable clients. Like me physically being there made such a difference. And so I think the travel industry is going to continue to grow. But my thoughts are around, airlines are now talking about sustainability all day long. So how are you noticing like that creep into the market? Because COVID, horrible, let's just forget about it now. The sustainability issue in aerospace is obviously a big one because fuel. So I actually heard an interesting stat that aerospace and aviation contributes to about 5% of global warming, which is really interesting. And so airlines are really, really focusing on how do we make this more eco-friendly.
Sure.
So what are you noticing kind of from your end about people booking and that sort of stuff?
I think at this stage it's still very much the kind of the top end conglomerates that some of them we look after, kind of their spends are in the mill for business travel in a 12-month period, and they're the ones that actually are happy to spend more on routines that ultimately reduce their carbon emissions, really.
Oh, so bigger companies are now like, we've got sustainability policies.
So there's and not necessarily companies that we look after, but just kind of in the industry, you read it, and more companies now have targets about reduction in carbon emissions rather than reduction on spend.
Oh, that's really interesting. Like that's, I know that Virgin talk about it a lot. Of like actually people before profits and like people and planet, isn't it? People and planet before profits. And I think that's a worldwide social change.
Definitely.
I think the younger generation, which I hope I'm a part of, I really hope I'm still a part of it. But I think everyone sort of, I think people really care about sustainability all the way through their ages. But I think actually the younger generation are coming through and caring less about large corporate businesses. They don't care about banks. They don't care about capitalism. They want a healthier society where we're looking after our planet and we're not all about making money. We're actually all about more of a social, like having more social values, which I think is a really interesting trend. But maybe it's not a trend, and maybe like 10 years ago someone else said exactly what I just said.
I don't know. I think obviously I've worked in business travel for coming up to 10 years, and I don't think any time in the past that it's been as prevalent as it is now. A lot of, for example, so what we do from like kind of a green policy point of view for our clients is we can recommend hotels that have won awards on their sustainability practices.
That's nice, actually. I really like that. So when I booked Atlanta, it had a little sustainability tick, and I was like, okay, cool. And I don't book based on that, which is probably bad of me, but I don't book based on that at the moment. Maybe I will in the future. But when I got there and I went down for breakfast, I was appalled. I was on a budget because I'd booked really late, typical me. And I went down to breakfast and they had not paper but plastic plates and plastic cutlery. And I was there like, and maybe I'm just a bit spoiled with the hotels that you normally get us at a really good rate, because I was like, why is this business using plastic plates and cutlery at breakfast? Like, the amount of waste that this is creating is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And so for you to say, actually, we can kind of select hotels based on genuine feedback from clients or something like that, that's a really good thing if a business does have a sustainability policy.
Yeah, definitely. I think it will come in, like I said, in the next couple of years. I think the government will probably start restricting grants for companies that aren't reducing their carbon emissions. I think there's going to be stuff like that comes through. I think there's definitely going to be incentives for SMEs to prove that they're reducing their carbon footprint. I think that's how they're going to kind of phase it in a little bit. But it goes right down. It's loads of different things, so like the car hire companies or the transfers. We have electric vehicles. Companies that only have electric vehicles. It's just little tweaks
to make things just a little bit nicer.
Definitely, and I could come in and do sessions with companies just
talking about that.
Yeah, and just about habits in general. About kind of right down to what you take whilst you're away. What things do you need to take? You need to actually reduce the amount of luggage you take.
Reduce the luggage. I increase the luggage on a regular basis. I do not, in terms of weight, I definitely don't travel sustainably, but that's, I guess, a woman in business thing, maybe. Maybe I'm a stereotypical woman in business, but my suitcase is packed full of everything that I don't need, just in case I need it. Yeah. I'm that kind of traveller, so maybe I would definitely benefit from your advice.
We just say, what we do now is we just give, and this is just something that I've learned as well, is I just have one backpack that I take on all my business trips, and it's got a charger, spare toothbrush, everything in it, because I'm very forgetful anyway. So I know that's
got
all
your checklist.
Yeah, it's all pre-packed, it's all done, so I can literally just pick up that bag and off we go.
I've got a question for you, actually. So do you, or your clients that you get to know, do they have seat preferences?
Yeah.
Right, but only because mine is really particular now, right? So I have to be within 2 rows of an emergency exit, just because I'm an anxious flyer.
Yeah.
So I want to know that if the plane's going down, if there's a possibility of surviving, I don't want a passenger to get in my way. I'm at that door, I'm the first one at the door. Whether it's, I've kind of worked out, and this is just stupid because I'd probably die if there was a plane crash, but I reckon I could get up quick enough and get round to the fire exit, not the fire exit, but to the emergency exit if it was to go down. So I've got to be quite close to an emergency exit. I quite like being near a loo because I probably don't have a sense of smell, and I drink a lot because I get I'm worried about getting dehydrated. Therefore I need to be near a loo. I like to be near the front because I'm a hungry lady.
Yep.
And they serve the food at the front first, and if you're at the back you might not have the option of the chicken, and so that is my preference of where I like to be sat. But what kind of things have you noticed? Is that most people's preference, or?
I think everyone has. We've seen some weird and wonderful requests.
Tell me.
I think my favourite one was a traveller that made us check what seat had the most sunshine on the way over to the States and the least on the way back.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I guess the internet, the beauty of it, there's actually a website, I can't remember what it's called now, but you can actually Google what seat gets sunshine on a flight.
Oh, wow.
So we can kind of then highlight, show them the seat map and say, these are the ones based on your preferences, match what you'd like. So.
Oh, that's so unique, but lovely. Did he like the sunshine, or did he just not want it? Or on the way out he wanted it, on the way back?
Yeah, I was like, you're flying at night on the way back, so I don't think you've got too much of a problem, but hey ho. But yeah, so what we do with stuff, any kind of traveller preferences, so that's kind of like meal requests, anything, even down to hotels, for example, if someone doesn't want to be on a high-rise building, we make a note, kind of first floor, ground floor. Some people might get claustrophobic, don't want lifts, so make sure that all of the hotels have stair access, which they will, but if you're going into a traditional kind of corporate hotel, in Dubai, for example, there could be lots, because I'm claustrophobic myself, so I get it. But yeah, meal requests is a massive one, because if you're on a flight for 10, 12, 14 hours and you need a gluten-free meal, for example. It's those little things that can massively impact
someone's experience.
And then, like you said, the knock-on effect, and you arrive groggy, you don't going into your meetings, then you're not maximising your time and the business's time for being away and stuff like that. So what we do is, when we bring a client on board, is we will go through all these preferences and basically create a travel profile.
Oh, nice.
With you.
I wonder what's on my profile. Pain, doesn't stop asking questions, had loads of really weird requests. Like, I come along and I'm definitely not the easiest person to work with. So thank you for your patience with me.
But it's better but you're vocal. Like you'll say what you want, which is better for us, because I think if someone doesn't tell us what they want, then we can't deliver, when actually it's very simple for us to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, the first couple of bookings, it's all about getting to know us and vice versa. Because then from then on, like I said, we've got preferences and we don't have to keep asking every single time. So the whole process becomes a lot more seamless. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we want to make it better for everyone. For us, we can get on seat map, look at this, look at that, get this booked in. So, that's where we add value. And, if everyone's a busy person in business, but you've booked your flight and you've got your confirmation suite, and you think, I'll just go back and have my seat at another time.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the business side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because lots of people that watch this will run or be in charge of P&Ls.
Yeah.
So, like, from your experience, Echo Bravo, what kind of savings could somebody potentially expect? Like, let's say they had an 100k travel budget. Do you think you could potentially save them 5%, 10% on their annual travel budget, or have you seen more savings than that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of route specific at the moment a little bit. So for example, North America, we see incredible savings. North America, mainly because the competition's so high. Obviously, you've got BA.
You can really help people.
Yeah, One World versus kind of Virgin versus United and stuff like that. So they're all kind of fighting out for the business. I think at the moment, United and Air Canada or Lufthansa, if you're coming over from Germany, for example, they're the best rates out there. Just to give you a live example, what we found the other day, we had a business class request come through, and it was about $7,000 on online, like the public rate, but our rate was about $3,500.
Wow.
For exactly the same ticket, exactly the same service. So that's like for like. So it's not that.
And that's just one trip. Like some of the people that watch this go all over the world. Every 3 weeks they're somewhere else. And so if you can save $3,500 a pop, I'm not a mathematician, but
it's crazy.
That's thousands. That's not just thousands, but that's tens of thousands.
Exactly, and that's like on one traveller. So if you've got 4 people going on the same business trip,
that makes a big difference.
$14,000. So North America is a really good place that we can offer people savings. Middle East and kind of Asia, obviously the routing's still coming back a little bit. Australia.